That could be nice. I'll have to take a look at that and see what's involved in that. Now, your other alternative to this is code generation, which will run a little faster at runtime. So instead of creating all these things on the fly and then having that invoke that interactively determines what to do, you could generate all those getter and setter methods or generate all those logging methods. And depending on what technique you're using, it can be real easy to do. I like to use the annotation processor to do that. And I did an example of that when we were talking about annotations. If you take a look at the video from before, you'll see how to write an annotation processor and actually can generate some code with it. Very neat stuff. And that'll be a little faster. It's a little bit more complex. This, I think, is nice and easy because you can just tweak it. With an annotation processor, you basically have something that you're putting in your tool chain. So if you're using an environment like Eclipse, you have to keep re-injecting your annotation processor whenever you want to actually recompile. So in some ways, it's kind of like writing a compiler, where you have that bootstrap phase. Every time you tweak your compiler, then you got to put it back in so you can compile yourself. So it can be a little tricky sometimes. But this is nice and clean. Doesn't really have much of an overhead to it. Other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much. Oh, question. No such thing. Well, there are such things as inappropriate questions, but for the most part, no. Okay, so how do we compare and contrast this to templating or dependency injection? Now, dependency injection you might use to create your wrappings, so to be able to actually wrap things. Although you're probably thinking like the aspect-oriented type stuff. In my opinion, well, with Spring, with its aspect-oriented decoration of things, it's actually very similar to what this is doing. It generates things in memory to actually be able to call methods